Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den. And before we get into this podcast episode, I just want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. I see that the numbers have increased and we are now at 1.3K, and I'm so excited because it just means so much. I really appreciate everybody who just tunes in and just listens to what I have to say, and who really holds the space with me. It means a lot. And I think I recorded yesterday, but it doesn't seem that way. I really enjoy recording and speaking and making these podcasts. So I'm super excited to be back today with another episode. And before we get into this episode, I just want to let everybody know that I know a lot of people talk about the energy. I know that life and death is in the power of the tongue. I understand that energy is definitely something that's fluid, it's transferable. So a lot of times we talk about these karmic cycles. But what I want people to really get is when it comes to your energy is your spirit, and it's really what's radiating from within. So you can be somebody who walks around and you only talk about positivity and you only share love, but deep down inside in your heart, you're somebody who's really envious, or you're really jealous, or you have a lot of negative emotions and energy deep down inside of you. It's that right there that's actually going to spin back to you. It's not just you speaking positively when you don't really feel that way. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes, like I said, when it comes to social media and memes and a lot of this kind of post and noise that kind of goes around, a lot of people do not really understand the concept of energy and spirituality, and so that's something I really just kind of wanted to stress to people, because I just want to let y'all know, you could be somebody who's super, super positive, but deep down inside, you're holding a lot of negative energy, and you're not really right within your spirit. It's that right there that's going to be karmic. I know a lot of people who put on fronts, especially when it comes to the social media and being on the front line. A lot of people who even have platforms, right? They say that they have the right intention, or they will really try to talk positively, but their energy is off. Don't. Their spirit, right? Their spirit is off. That's what I mean. Because I think when it comes to energy, a lot of people got to understand this too. Your energy, because energy is transferable, a lot of times it could be your energy that's actually radiating the negativity. So you got to just know yourself. You know what I mean? You have to know who you are, and you have to be at a space of peace and knowing within yourself. I think when it comes to people, sometimes we're around people and we're like, oh man, I knew I was feeling something was off, but we don't really take the time to self-reflect. For example, I was really fearful in this situation when dealing with somebody, and I didn't really know why I was so fearful. But as it turned out, it was really because I had some trauma that I had experienced, and it wasn't really that person who was giving me that energy. And so you have I seen some posts that were saying oh, don't be around people who are trigger traumas and blah, blah, blah. I think the problem with social media is, like I said, that it has so many messages distorted. And the truth is that you want to be around people who actually hold you accountable. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to leave that there. I just wanted to kind of say that before we get into this episode. But this episode is going to be pretty brief, pretty quick. I know I've been doing some little quick tips and little side note videos, just because it's I don't know, I just think it's something that's been on my heart, it's been on my mind, and I just kind of wanted to share it. And I know I talked about this in previous episodes, and I always tell you guys, I do not try to really stray in the area of relationships, because that's just not my forte. That ain't my thing. But it's something that I'm noticing with a lot of people. And I even found myself being in those situations where when it comes to dating specifically, I had a very negative outlook on it. And I just kind of want to rewrite that narrative for anybody who's kind of in a space of just negative energy, and you have a very negative perspective in regards to dating, right? I'm not talking about if you are somebody who's taking a single season, or you are being in a space where you're alone. Those things are great for personal development and just overall cultivation. So that's beautiful. If you're in a season of growth, then this may not be the episode for you. But if you are somebody who's dating and you have questions about dating, and you just want to know what's the tea on dating, I'm here to help you. So anyways, I just want to let everybody know, first and foremost, when it comes to dating, I heard my life coach say this, and this is something that's just so freaking profound, and it just really hit me different. It's not about who you want. It's about who wants you. Now, that was really deep, because a lot of times our egos will really take us to these places where we really feel like everybody wants us. And don't get me wrong, I still think I'm everybody's bag of chips, but the reality is that I'm just not. The reality is just that I'm not, and I'm not going to do it for every single guy, right? And that's okay. And I think that sometimes we're in these spaces where we have these expectations because we may have dated somebody in the past who was like this type build, and they were physically attractive, or they were materialistically, right, attractive. And so now our standard is like that, right? We can go lower. We feel like we can only go higher. But the truth is that wasn't somebody who actually wanted you, right? Like if they wanted you, it would have still worked out. It would have worked out. You guys may still be together, right? If you really wanted them. And I think this is kind of like the danger zone that we step into when we have expectations and standards. And of course, social media doesn't make it any better, because you may have a pretty girl or somebody on Instagram liking your pictures, and everybody knows all that stuff is definitely misconstrued. I don't want to hear what anybody has to say. People definitely get on social sometime looking for confirmation in regards to just like relationships and status quo and just validation, all of those things. And so I think that space alone really kind of like conflicts our personal self-image and how we really view ourselves. And so what I'm finding with a lot of people is that a lot of people actually are like wanting people who don't necessarily want them, but because they've dated a guy or a girl who was of that status, maybe it was like financial, or maybe it was just like socially they were popular or highly favored, or whatever you want to say, you know what I mean, in regards to this particular person with this demeanor. And so now that's just like all they want to date, and I think the dangers of that is a lot of times you have people, because here's the thing, you guys, social media is like the biggest lie. It's the biggest lie. Like there are some people who are doing some great things, and even for myself, I'm pretty truthful on my social media. Like you guys could totally follow me. It's Jalen Leslie on Instagram. It's nothing special about my Instagram. I have like 300 followers. I show my art. I do what I do, but nonetheless, social media is definitely probably one of the biggest like false images. You know what I mean? It's one of those things to where it's just like you don't really know a person. And I've seen people sit online and pretend that they were something that they were not, right? They were the flyest guys, but they were like the brokest guys. And, you see people who are like the prettiest girls, but they got the nastiest attitudes. You know what I mean? And so it's like you just have to really sit in a space with yourself and be true to yourself and really ask yourself, like, what am I looking for, and how do I want to be treated? Because I think at the end of the day, no, everybody's goal does not need to necessarily be marriage. I think that that's definitely like God's plan, of course. But if you are dating somebody and you guys are making plans, or, ladies, he has a plan, okay? You know what I mean? That's definitely something that could come up, especially if you are in a different age range or whatever, I guess I could say. And so I just think at the end of the day, it's just like you really have to, when it comes to dating, if you are looking like for a serious relationship, or you are somebody who's intentionally dating, just try to be a little bit more inclined to what really matters to you at the end of the day, and like what's going to matter when everything pretty much hits the fan. And back to what I was saying in the beginning of this episode, it is the spirit, honey. It's the spirit. It's not always the energy, because some people have very like manipulative spirits, and so they can really like manipulate energy. I've seen people like take your whole personality, your whole get up, your whole style, your whole aura, almost in a way, and try to really project it like they're that person. But deep down inside in their spirit, it's like, who the heck is this person? Because they don't really roll like that. You know what I mean? And so it's like, just be mindful of that. Test the spirits. The God ain't say nothing about testing no energy, honey. Don't even get into that. All right. You're going to get into that. You're going to be in some voodoo Hawaii Bobby, girl, you're going to be you're going to be up there tangled and twisted, honey. I'm telling you, like, don't even get into that. But, definitely just be mindful of characteristics. I talked about that a lot in my book Seasons. Like, it's about character. It's about morals, values, and beliefs. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. And everybody can talk a good talk, but make sure they walk in the walk. And, just try to have a positive outlook on life, because you've never been to Brazil. You've never been to Croatia, honey. Like, you don't know who you will meet in this world. There are many people. But definitely don't ever put yourself in a space where you just kind of feeling like you can only vibe with a particular type of person because of one experience, because you're selling yourself short. So that's just my tips on just kind of like the whole dating scene, and really trying to help people come into a space of positivity, especially if that is something that you're digging on. I think in the beginning, like, if you have a bad experience, everybody kind of has like a negative outlook on dating. I had took a while off from dating. Like, I was not dating before I met my partner. Like, I was not dating at all. I was really in a single season, and I was having so much fun. Honestly, like, I totally loved it. And I was not dating. And the reason why I wasn't dating was because I was so focused on what it was that I was doing. And I just kind of got into a space in my life where I just became very particular. Like, I just became very particular, and, I was very selective and discerning, and, so it wasn't that I wasn't like dating. Like, I did go on a few dates, but nothing really got past the first date with anybody because I wasn't intentionally trying to take it there. I wasn't looking for anybody. But when I met my partner, he was really dope, and he bagged it. He was like, hey, I'm really digging on you. Of course, he didn't say that like in a literal sense. I'm saying that, but I'm not even going to get all into that. So I just think, at the end of the day, it's all about what floats your boat. But I will say this too, like, before I wrap up entirely, it's so important. Like, I think this is for guys and girls, but mostly I'm going to speak to ladies because obviously I'm a woman. It's so important to me personally to be myself. Like, I have to be myself. I have to be the greatest version of me. You know what I mean? Like, the best version of me, the entrepreneur, the artist, the vocalist, like the conversationalist. Like, for me, it's all those things encompassing, but I need to be able to be the vulnerable, the soft, the afraid, you know what I mean? Like, all of that, you know what I mean? And still be healing and just so many things. And so I think one of the things that I would definitely encourage for women, especially because, women are the prize, and women are definitely, they bring so much, especially if you meet a good woman. Like, it's so many components and so many factors that a woman can really bring into your life that can really change your life, like, forever. And I definitely think for me, when I speak to women, and any advice I could give to women is like, you need to be yourself. And I'm not talking about no makeup, because the truth is that, like, when it comes to, I want to be around him with no makeup, like, if you don't really feel comfortable being around him with no makeup, that's not the guy for you. And, secondly, when it comes to like the whole makeup, no weave, that's who you are that's who you are, like, as an individual, as a person. So if you're not really comfortable being in those spaces on your own time, then you don't need to be stepping into the area of a relationship. Like, don't even get in that arena. And the reason I say that is because you really got to be in a space where you love yourself. And I'm telling you from my experience, and just continuously throughout life, like, you have to have a level of love for yourself, because if not, you will really tolerate a lot, and you'll be susceptible to a lot, because you're not going to really have like a backbone to really stick up for yourself, and you're going to find yourself in situations. And, the thing about life and experience is that everybody does not necessarily have the backbone to really bounce back from some situations. And you can really take some hits in life when it comes to like your heart, you know what I mean? Your heart and your mind, and dealing with people who may not be the best for you, and you may not be able to recover from that. It's the same pain as physical pain. So just be mindful with those things. I ain't trying to go all deep and dark and scary. Like, it's a fun thing. Like, if you are looking for that person, just be mindful of your preferences, and don't allow them to overrule your standards, because you're gonna put yourself in a box. Okay, and that's all I really wanted to say. Like I said, I'm not in any way trying to do no whole coach thing. This can really be applied to like relationships, in regards to friendships as well. Just be mindful of people's spirits. Like, it's not a matter of energy, because like I said, energy is tricky, honey. It's tricky. It's transferable. All right. It doesn't die. You know what I mean? But when it comes to spirits, now that's an individual thing. So I'm going to leave everybody with their thoughts, and I hope everybody has a great day.